When a foreign guy goes to meet his Filipina girlfriend for the very first time, it's very exciting for sure. But sadly, many men are not prepared for what they may be about to find out about his new Filipina girlfriend. In this video, I'll tell you the shocking truth around what many foreign men can expect that they certainly won't be prepared for. This video is designed to give those guys new to dating a Filipina and new to visiting the Philippines a heads up as to the things they may find rather concerning on their first meeting with their Filipina. When one is chatting online to his new girlfriend, he may not get the full picture of how his girlfriend lives in the Philippines. He may see a pretty face on the computer, and sure, she may have told him about her life and even some hardships that she's endured on a daily basis. But hearing about it and seeing the reality can cause a culture shock for many guys new to dating a Filipina. Remember, we are from different worlds. And the life that you've been used to is far different to the life your girlfriend has been used to in her country. You're going from a developed country where everything is much easier to a developing country where life is much tougher. Again, we all know this, but seeing the reality for the very first time with someone you care about can be rather shocking, and it can play on your mind long after you go back home. In many developed countries, we take so much for granted. Owning a car, which makes life much easier, is not so easy for many people in the Philippines. Many Filipinos will catch buses, tricycles, jeepneys or trains to get around on a daily basis. And a car for many is just an expense they simply can't afford. So what about washing clothes? In the Philippines, your girlfriend will most likely not have an automatic washing machine. And you'll see her sitting outside with a bowl of water and a board where she'll be scrubbing the clothes clean, much like many of us may have seen in the movies from the mid-1900s. And for many Filipinos, water just doesn't come out of a tap inside the house. But some may be lucky enough to have a water well outside their home where they'll pump the water into a bucket as required. Others may not be so lucky and need to walk a distance to a stream or a well to get their daily water supply or to scrub their clothes. The very first thing you'll most likely notice when you go to where the Filipina's house is that it's far different in comparison to the rather comfortable house you may live in. The reality is that many houses in the Philippines are very flimsy and basic. The house may be made from anything from scrap wood and tin to concrete blocks. In fact, you may wonder how anyone can live there, let alone a family of 7 or 8. Members of the family, including your girlfriend, may sleep on a thin mattress placed on a dirt or concrete floor, as quality bedding is far too expensive and luxurious for many in the Philippines. Now, if your girlfriend is working and living in Manila, she may very well be living in a boarding house. And a typical boarding house in Manila offers a single room for a budget price. Many of these rooms are in very old and, quite frankly, dangerous boarding houses. Inside the room may be just around 4 metres by 4 metres square. And many of these rooms are very hot with no ventilation or windows. So many of these boarding houses are very old and run down with rats running everywhere. And you most likely won't have any facilities for cooking, and will use a shared shower and toilet within that facility. Many of these boarding houses are fire hazards, and many Manila boarding houses have gone up in flames over the years with people dying. Can you imagine meeting your Filipina for the first time and walking up a narrow stairway, down an old hallway and into a hot and stuffy small room where your Filipina lives, maybe even with another 1 or 2 people? And I can tell you, that was exactly what I experienced the very first time I met my wife. It really did shock me how she and her sister could live there. I certainly felt very closed in and uncomfortable after just 15 minutes in that room. I was astounded how they can live in such conditions, but the shocking reality to me was the danger that boarding house posed to my wife and her sister. Just one spark and the whole place would ignite into a fireball. And with only one narrow exit out of the boarding house, many would surely perish if that happened. This really bothered me at the time, and after I'd gone back to my home and comfortable lifestyle and way of living, so much to the point that I was scared for my wife and her sister's safety that I sent her a few thousand pesos a month to move them into a much cleaner and safer apartment. But still, it was nothing flash, but it was more comfortable with a shower, toilet, and the ability to cook some meals. But most of all, it was much safer and gave me peace of mind. So my point in doing this video is to say, even if you know these things and you think you're prepared for what you will face when you go to meet her for the very first time, when the reality is staring you in the face, is something far different and really will shock you and play on your mind. After all, no one wants a hard and sometimes dangerous life for the person they care about and are possibly falling in love with. And that reality really hits home after you've left the Philippines and you've returned home to all your comforts and are left at night reflecting on how your girlfriend is living in her country. But a word of warning here, guys. As much as you want to save her, resist that temptation as best as you can, as you're still only new in the relationship after only meeting her for the first time. If you make any big promises to her that involve moving her into an expensive apartment or telling her that you'll look after her so she can stop working, then you need to know that this is dangerous to your Filipina's security. And that's because your relationship is new and not secure at that time. And if you make any big changes in her life, as I mentioned, what happens if something goes wrong in the relationship? All of a sudden, your girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, as the case may be, is now left to pay rent she can't afford or not having an income because she left a job on your promise that you will send her money and look after her. Rest assured, her life would now be far more difficult than before you entered the picture. And this can be a bigger problem when living in the Philippines, where there's very little in the way of government assistance or services. Now, I'm not saying that after you meet her for the first time, not to help her in any way, as most of you guys have formed a good connection with many hours of chatting online previously, and now, after meeting her, you feel the connection to her is real. Wanting to help is natural and normal, and doing so in a small way of maybe a few thousand pesos a month is okay. But you have to think that whatever help you offer, she will be able to continue in the same way should your relationship fail with her down the track. That is thinking the situation through and truly caring and looking out for this woman. And in time, as the relationship becomes stronger and more secure, you'll then have the opportunity to make bigger changes in her life that will also impact in big ways in your life. For more information around dating a Filipina, be sure to check out my playlist on screen now. Thanks for watching, stay safe and take care.